Prime Field.
Hello and welcome to Prime Field, your go-to spot for in-depth sports analysis. Today we're diving deep into the electrifying world of University of Connecticut women's basketball. Specifically, we're looking ahead to the 2025 to 2026 season and trying to answer a thrilling question. Who will be the top defensive guards donning the iconic Huskies uniform? Now, pinpointing the top defenders for a future season, especially focusing on stats like steals, blocks, and overall defensive impact, is always a fascinating challenge. The landscape of college basketball is ever evolving, with rosters shifting and new talents emerging. For the 2025 to 2026 Huskies, detailed official statistics and finalized rosters are naturally still on the horizon. We know key figures from the incredible 2023 to 2024 National Collegiate Athletic Association Championship run, like the phenomenal Paige Bueckers and the tenacious Nika Moule, have taken their talents to the Women's National Basketball Association. And Caitlin Chen's status is something we're watching closely. So, our ranking today is built on a blend of factors. Players we anticipate will be pivotal to the 2025 to 2026 roster, their established defensive reputations from previous campaigns, and some educated projections. It's an exciting puzzle, and as more information becomes available, the picture will only get clearer. But based on what we know and the trends emerging from Storrs, Connecticut, let's get into it. Topping our list, the player we project as UConn's premier defensive guard for the 2025 to 2026 season is Azzi Fudd. Why Azzi Fudd? Let's break it down. First, let's talk steals. During that glorious 2023 to 2024 season, which saw UConn capture its 12th National Collegiate Athletic Association Championship, Fudd was an integral part of a truly formidable backcourt. While we don't have a crystal ball for her exact 2025 to 2026 steal numbers, her performance in the 2023 to 2024 National Collegiate Athletic Association tournament speaks volumes. Paige Bueckers was a defensive dynamo, averaging an astounding 2.8 steals per game in that tournament. As a key guard sharing defensive responsibilities, it's reasonable to project Fudd making a similarly significant impact in the steals department. She has the instinct, the quick hands, and the basketball IQ. Now on to blocks. Typically, guards aren't the players racking up massive block numbers. That's usually the domain of forwards and centers. However, Fudd isn't just any guard. Her athleticism and impressive length allow her to effectively contest shots in a way that many guards simply can't. While specific block statistics from past seasons aren't highlighted for her guard role, her defensive versatility is a well-noted aspect of her game. She doesn't just defend, she disrupts. This brings us to her overall defensive impact. Fudd is more than just stats. She's a presence. She's even been highlighted as a potential Women's National Basketball Association draft sleeper, with her defensive toughness being a key factor in that conversation. Imagine this: a guard who can credibly defend multiple positions, who possesses the anticipation to disrupt passing lanes consistently, effectively becoming a lockdown defender on the perimeter. That's the kind of impact we're talking about. As she steps into a senior or even a fifth-year role in the 2025 to 2026 season, especially with the departure of a generational talent like Bueckers, her leadership on the defensive end will be absolutely crucial for the Huskies. So, the reason for ranking Azzi Fudd at number 1? It's a compelling combination of her vast experience, her triumphant return to full health. Remember, she played a complete 2023 to 2024 season after battling through injury-plagued years, which shows incredible resilience, and her well-earned reputation as a dynamic two-way player. Under coach Geno Auriemma, UConn's defensive system is legendary for its emphasis on relentless guard pressure. Fudd, with her skill set and anticipated leadership role, is perfectly positioned to be the primary engine of that pressure. She's not just stepping up, she's ready to dominate. Her journey, her skills, her anticipated role, it all points to Azzi Fudd leading UConn's defensive charge from the backcourt in the 2025 to 2026 season. It's a big responsibility, but all signs indicate she's more than ready for it. With Azzi Fudd setting a high bar, who's next in line to bolster UConn's formidable defensive backcourt for the 2025 to 2026 season? Let's turn our attention to a player whose energy and tenacity are simply infectious, KK Arnold. When we consider KK Arnold's potential for the 2025 to 2026 season, we're looking at a player who, as a sophomore in 2024 to 2025, was already a key rotational guard. She wasn't just filling in minutes, she was making them count, particularly on the defensive end. Let's analyze her steals. Arnold is renowned for her quick hands and that relentless defensive tenacity. You know the type, the defender who just never gives the ball handler a moment's peace. While we don't have projected steal numbers for the 2025 to 2026 season at our fingertips, her established role as a pesky, persistent on-ball defender gives us a strong indication. It's highly conceivable she'll be averaging somewhere in the range of 1.5 to 2 steals per game. This isn't just a random guess, it's consistent with UConn's storied high-pressure defensive style, a system where active hands and anticipation lead to turnovers and transition opportunities. What about blocks for KK Arnold? Standing at 5'9", she's not typically going to be the player soaring for highlight reel rejections against forwards. That's perfectly understandable for her position and physique. However, don't mistake a lack of towering blocks for a lack of presence. Arnold's ability to contest shots effectively with active hands, to get in the shooter's line of sight, and to generally make life uncomfortable for opponents still adds a valuable layer to her defensive presence. It's about disruption, even if it doesn't always show up in the block column. This leads directly to her overall defensive impact. This is where KK Arnold truly shines, and why she's so crucial for the Huskies' future. Her speed is a game changer, her energy is palpable. These attributes combine to make her an incredibly disruptive force on the court. She's the kind of player who can change the momentum of a game with a single defensive play. Looking ahead to the 2025 to 2026 season, where she'll be a junior, the expectation is that Arnold will step into an even larger role, very likely starting alongside Azzi Fudd in what could be one of the nation's most formidable defensive backcourts. Her ability to hound opposing guards full court, to pick them up the moment they receive the ball and stay with them step for step, is a hallmark of UConn's defensive philosophy. Think about the lineage of elite defensive guards at UConn, players like Nika Moule, who set an incredible standard with 686 career assists and earned back-to-back Big East Defensive Player of the Year awards. Arnold is poised to carry that torch, embodying that same relentless pressure. So, the reason for ranking KK Arnold as our strong number 2? It's her undeniable upward trajectory and that fierce defensive intensity she brings every single night. She's not just a player with potential, she's a player who is actively realizing it. With the departure of foundational players like Bueckers and Chen, there's a void, but it's also an opportunity. Arnold is perfectly positioned to step into that opportunity, leveraging the invaluable experience she gained during UConn's triumphant 2024 National Collegiate Athletic Association championship run. She's seen what it takes to win at the highest level, and now she's ready to lead in her own right. KK Arnold is more than just a defender. She's an energizer, a catalyst. Her development will be key to UConn maintaining its defensive dominance in the 2025 to 2026 season. We've discussed the established leadership of Azzi Fudd and the dynamic energy of KK Arnold. Now let's explore another vital piece of UConn's defensive puzzle for the 2025 to 2026 season, Ashlyn Shade. As a sophomore during the 2024 to 2025 championship season, Ashlyn Shade demonstrated significant promise, not just as a scorer, but also as a capable defender. Her journey is one of growth and increasing responsibility within this elite program. When we look at her potential for steals in the 2025 to 2026 season, the explicit hard numbers aren't yet detailed. However, her athleticism is a clear indicator of her capabilities. Standing at 5'10", she has good size for a guard, combined with agility. As she matures into her junior year, gaining more experience and a deeper understanding of collegiate defensive schemes, it's reasonable to project her contributing around 1 to 1.5 steals per game. This progression is natural for a player of her caliber, especially within a system that actively encourages guards to be disruptive. Regarding blocks, much like many guards, Ashlyn Shade's block totals are likely to be minimal. It's simply not the primary defensive expectation for her role. However, her size, that 5'10" frame we mentioned, does give her an advantage. It allows her to effectively challenge shots in the backcourt, to get a hand up and alter a shooter's rhythm, even if it doesn't always result in a recorded block. Every contested shot, every forced adjustment contributes to the team's overall defensive success. Now let's consider her overall defensive impact. Compared to Fudd's established defensive dominance or Arnold's high-octane energy, Shade's defensive impact has been perhaps less explicitly documented in the headlines so far. But her value lies in her versatility as a two-way player. She's not just an offensive threat, she's a committed defender, and that makes her an incredibly valuable asset to Coach Auriemma. As UConn looks to maintain its elite perimeter defense, especially after losing key players to the Women's National Basketball Association, Shade's contribution will be increasingly important. Her continued growth within UConn's demanding system will undoubtedly enhance her ability to force turnovers, effectively guard elite opponents, and seamlessly execute complex defensive strategies. So, the reason for ranking Ashlyn Shade third on our list? It comes down to her significant potential and the clear need within the UConn program for returning guards to elevate their games and embrace larger roles. With fewer established household names in the backcourt compared to the Bueckers era, the development of players like Shade under Coach Auriemma's legendary coaching will be paramount. Her work ethic combined with her physical tools and the opportunity for increased minutes and responsibility strongly suggests her defensive contributions are set to rise. She represents that crucial layer of talent that can transform a good defensive team into a great one. Ashlyn Shade's development is a key storyline for the 2025 to 2026 Huskies. Her ability to become a consistent, impactful defender will be critical as UConn aims to continue its reign at the top of women's college basketball. We've examined 3 formidable guards expected to anchor UConn's defense, but the 4th spot on our ranking for the 2025 to 2026 season introduces an element of exciting uncertainty. Here we consider Morgan Cheli, and also acknowledge the ever-present possibility of a game-changing transfer guard joining the Huskies. Let's first look at Morgan Cheli. As a freshman during the 2024 to 2025 season, her role was naturally one of development and learning the collegiate game at the highest level. For the upcoming 2025 to 2026 season, where she'll be a sophomore, she's something of a wild card in terms of her specific defensive statistical output. When we consider steals for Cheli, no specific projections are readily available. This is understandable for a player still early in her collegiate career. However, Cheli arrived at UConn as a highly touted recruit, and such recruits invariably come with an expectation of contributing on both ends of the floor. As she gains more experience and becomes more integrated into UConn's defensive schemes, her defensive numbers will undoubtedly grow. Similarly for blocks, Cheli's defensive profile as a guard suggests that, like her peers, her block totals will likely be limited. Hustle plays, however, can lead to those occasional surprising rejections that energize a team. Her primary defensive contributions will likely lie elsewhere. This brings us to her potential overall defensive impact. Morgan Cheli's defensive potential is currently assessed based on her recruiting pedigree, which was stellar in UConn's unparalleled track record of developing guards into defensive stalwarts. The coaching staff at UConn excels at molding talent, and Cheli is now firmly within that developmental pipeline. As she acclimates further and earns more playing time, her defensive responsibilities are expected to increase significantly. She represents the next wave of talent rising through the ranks. Now let's introduce another fascinating dimension, the potential impact of a transfer guard. The transfer portal has become a transformative element in college sports. UConn has historically utilized it effectively, as seen with Caitlin Chen's impact during the 2024 to 2025 season. While Chen's defensive role was noted, specific stats weren't quantified in our source material, but her presence was undoubtedly felt. If UConn were to bring in an experienced guard via the portal for the 2025 to 2026 season, that player could arrive with a proven track record, including established steal numbers and defensive accolades. Such a player could immediately slot in and potentially rank even higher on a list like this, depending on their pedigree. So the reason for ranking Morgan Cheli, or a hypothetical yet-to-be-named transfer guard, in this 4th position is rooted in the current uncertainty surrounding the roster's final composition for the 2025 to 2026 season. UConn's roster is still taking shape, as is common at this stage. Without confirmed statistics or a finalized roster that might include a star transfer, this spot remains somewhat speculative. However, it's a speculation grounded in UConn's enduring tradition of guard-heavy defensive excellence. Whether it's Cheli stepping up significantly or a new face making an instant impact, this 4th key defensive guard role will be crucial. This 4th spot is one to watch closely as the 2025 to 2026 season approaches. The development of young talent like Cheli, or the exciting arrival of a new impact player, will add another layer of intrigue to UConn's defensive lineup. We've journeyed through our projected top defensive guards for the UConn Huskies 2025 to 2026 season, from the anticipated leadership of Azzi Fudd to the emerging talents and potential new faces. Now let's zoom out and consider the broader context, and what this all means for one of women's college basketball's most storied programs. It's crucial to reiterate the data limitations. Much of the detailed discussion and statistics we've seen recently have understandably focused on the incredible 2024 to 2025 season. Stars like Paige Bueckers, who averaged an impressive 2.1 steals and 1.3 blocks per game in the National Collegiate Athletic Association tournament, and Nika Moule, a two-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, naturally dominated those defensive conversations. For the 2025 to 2026 season, while Azzi Fudd, KK Arnold, and Ashlyn Shade are confirmed returners expected to log significant minutes, their precise defensive statistics for that future season are, of course, not yet available. Our projections are therefore based on their pivotal roles in UConn's 2025 championship success and established general defensive trends within the program. This brings us to UConn's defensive system. This is the bedrock. Year in and year out, UConn guards are renowned for their aggressive, relentless on-ball defense. It's a philosophy that leads to high steal totals and consistently forces opponents into costly turnovers. The team's 2025 National Collegiate Athletic Association title run was a masterclass in this, with Bueckers and Fudd anchoring a backcourt that suffocated opponents. There's every reason to believe that the 2025 to 2026 team, already projected by many as a top seed for the National Collegiate Athletic Association tournament, will maintain this formidable defensive identity. It's in their DNA. We must also acknowledge roster changes. College basketball is dynamic. UConn saw the departure of Paige Bueckers to the Women's National Basketball Association, a significant shift. The status of Caitlin Chen's eligibility has also been a point of discussion. On the other hand, the program has welcomed new talent, such as transfer forward Sarah Williams from Wisconsin, who brings impressive rim protection with an average of 2.3 blocks per game in her prior season. While our focus today has been on guards, such front court defensive strength can indirectly benefit the guards by allowing them to be even more aggressive on the perimeter. And of course, new recruits or further transfers could still shift the defensive hierarchy we've discussed. The roster is a living entity. Finally, regarding recent trends in news or social media, the focus has largely been on Bueckers' transition to the Women's National Basketball Association and other broader program news, rather than specific deep dives into the 2025 to 2026 guards' future defensive stats just yet. This is normal for this point in the offseason. So, to bring it all together in our final thoughts, Azzi Fudd stands out as our projected top defensive guard for UConn in the 2025 to 2026 season, thanks to her invaluable experience and proven two-way prowess. Following her are KK Arnold and Ashlyn Shade, whose rankings reflect their growing importance and development within UConn's demanding system. The fourth spot, as we discussed, remains more speculative, with Morgan Cheli representing internal growth and the ever-present possibility of an impactful transfer shaking things up. Regardless of the exact individual rankings, one thing is almost certain. UConn's guards will continue to excel defensively. They will leverage the program's deeply ingrained tradition of pressure, disruption, and relentless effort. The exact contributions and hierarchy may shift as the season unfolds and more concrete data emerges, but the standard of defensive excellence at UConn is unwavering. Thank you for joining us on Prime Field for this look into UConn's defensive future. What are your predictions? Who do you think will shine? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Until next time, keep your eye on the ball.
Prime Field.